So welcome to the video lecture series on theory of computation class. So today's video lecture will be learning about converting context-free grammar to Greibach normal form. Let us assume that we take up a grammar like this: s tends to xy, s tends to xn, and p, and subsequently we have mx bar m and xn o. Okay. So the first step what you have to see here is when you want to see a Greibach normal form. We want to check the step number one is verify whether there is any epsilon or null productions or unit productions here. So there is not any null productions and unit productions here, so we will actually carry forward to the second step. Now we have to ensure whether this is in a Chomsky normal form. That is the second step, but this is not in Chomsky normal form. Okay, so this is not in Chomsky normal form, so we will convert this into Chomsky normal form. So but what is the hindrance here? The abstraction here is we have a symbol called as n. N is a small case letter, that is a terminal, and here again in the second row, second production, we have m here, again that is actually a terminal. So what we will try to do here is we will replace this terminals with subsequent non-terminals here. So we will replace introduce two productions here, introduce t1 tends to small n and t2 tends to small m, and we will introduce these two productions. Okay, and now we will replace this original productions by these productions. So what will happen is s will be x and y, so there's not any change in this production. But here when I come to xn, x we write as it is and n we can replace by t1. And the next is p. P is a non-terminal, so this is perfectly valid in Chomsky normal form. Now when you come to the next production, x tends to m can be replaced by t2 here, so we will write it as t2 and x here, t2 x, and next is m. So I'm not going to replace this m here because which is already permitted form of Chomsky normal, Greibach normal form. Okay, now and the third one is we have y here. Y can be replaced by xn, n can be already replaced by t1, so we will replace it as x t1 bar o. So o is a terminal here, so we will just skip it off. Now when you just check it out, everything is in Chomsky normal form. So every production is in Chomsky normal form. So now we will try to actually replace this with Greibach normal form. So what is the convention of Greibach normal form? So convention of Greibach normal form is we have to name these non-terminals in AI in ascending order. So the first non-terminal is s here. So s we will name it as a1. And next when you come move on the right, x is there, x will be named as a2, y will be named as a3, and then subsequently x is there on the next production, so it will again be named as a2. A2 is already there. t1 is actually the fourth non-terminal, so t1 will be named as a4. Okay, and coming to the next line, x t2 is the fifth non-terminal, so t2 will be named as a5, and ax is actually named as a1 here. So x is going to be named as a1, which is already named here, and m is there, and finally y is actually named as a2 here, so no issues. Now when again x has been named, x is actually having a name called as a2, and when you come to t1 have already a name called as a4. So altogether there are 5 non-terminals, which includes s, x, y, t1 and t2. Okay, so we will just rewrite these productions in A's form now. So when we rewrite this production in A's form, so s can be named as a1 tends to, and x can be named as a2, and y can be named as a3. Okay, and I will just rewrite the production in order. Now x can be named as a2, T1 can be named as A4, and P we will leave it as it is because P is a terminal here. We will leave it as it is. Now when you come to X here, X has been named as T1 here, A2 tends to, T2 has been named as A5, so write it as A5 here, and X has to be named as A2 and M. So now coming to the third production, Y has to be named as A3 here, so A3 tends to, X is named as A2, and T is actually, T1 is named as A4 bar. Okay, now when you just take up these productions in the form, we can say that when AI is actually less than AJ, okay, let us assume that A1 is AI, A2 is actually AJ, it is less than. So when AI is less than AJ, it is permitted. When AI is greater than or equal to AJ, it is not permitted. So we have to work on with this kind of productions. Okay, so what we have to do in this case, so when you take AI is A1, and AJ is A2, so AI is less than AJ, it is accepted. Now again, when you come to the second production, AI is 1, AJ is 2 here, so this is also accepted, and A1 tends to P, because right side you can have a terminal here, only one terminal is accepted in Greibach normal form. Now when you come to A2, AI is 2 and AJ is 5, so this is also accepted. A2 tends to M, okay, so that is also accepted because M is a terminal which is perfectly accepted. But A3, AI is 3 and AJ is 2 here, so AI is actually greater than or equal to AJ, so it's condition. So this kind of production is not accepted. So what we have to do here is we have to substitute the value of A2 in A3. Okay, so substitute A2 in A3. So what does it mean? That means A2 productions has to be substituted in A3 here. So A2 production, you will write the productions here. So we'll first write A1 productions. A1 tends to A3, A2, A4. This is already, I'm just rewriting the production, that's all. Okay, now A2 is A5, A2 bar M. So this is also a valid production. Now come to A3. A3 value is actually, I value is less than, greater than J here. So we will substitute this A2. So take this A2 value, substitute it here. When you substitute this A2 here, so we can write A3 tends to, so this A2 has to be replaced by A5, A2, and already A4 is there. We'll write A4 here, bar, and I replace this M by A2, so we will have M, A4. Then already one O is there, so we will just make it as O. O is called a small O. Now just check it out whether AA value is actually greater than less than AJ. So when you take up the first production, AA value is less than AJ, yes, perfectly valid. In the second production also, AA value is less than AJ, it is valid, perfectly valid. Now AA value is A2 here and AJ value is A5, so this is also valid. Now in A3, AA value is 3 here and AJ value is A5 here, it is also valid. Now the rest of the productions is actually already in the Greibach normal form. But when you just see here, Greibach normal form should accept a form of a non-terminal starting with the terminal and followed by set of non-terminals. Either this is one form or non-terminal should have only one terminal on the right side. Only these two forms are accepted by Greibach normal form. So when you take up this one, actually it is not in Greibach normal form. So what we have to do is we have to take this production, substitute by Greibach normal form. So what is the value here? So we just replace these values here. So A2 value has to be replaced by A5 A2. Now we replace this A2 in A1 here. Okay. Now what we can do is, it's already accepting in the form, so what we will do is we will replace this A2 by M here. So we'll take substitute A2 tends to M in A1. So now what happens is A1 tends to, so A2 will be M here, A3 bar A2 will be M here, and A4 and P. So P is a terminal. Now when you come to second production called as A2 tends to A5. Okay, so A5 okay. So the most crucial part is A5 T2 tends to, we should also write this productions. So here we have to write what is A4 here. A4 is actually T2, isn't it? T1. So A4 is T1. So T1 can be replaced by the production called as N, and A5 is T2, and T2 can be replaced by M here, because this we have missed this productions here. Okay, so now what we have to do is we just take up this production here. A5 has to be replaced by this production called as M here. So substitute A5 tends to M in A2 here. So what will happen here? So this will actually become A2 tends to, so A5 can be replaced by M here, so M A2 bar M. Okay, now this is also done. Now when you just closely observe the third production here, A3 tends to A5. Okay, so this is not in terms Greibach normal form, so we have to replace this. So I will just take this one, we'll write this one called as A3 tends to A5 A2 A4 bar M A4 bar O. Okay, so still it is not in Greibach normal form. So what we have to substitute is we have a production for A5 here. Substitute A5 tends to, we already have a production called as M in A3. So this A5 will be replaced by M here. So what will happen? A3 can be replaced as M A2 A4 bar M A4 bar O. Okay, so this is one production. So already we have a correct list of productions, so we will rewrite all these productions together. So what is rewriting all the productions? When we rewrite all these productions, so first we will write A1 has been already converted as M A3 bar M A4 bar P. Now what is A2 here? A2 has been already converted as M A2 bar M. So this is the second one, and A3 we have written it as A3 tends to M A2 A4 M A4 O is another production. So now we have to write what is A4 and A5. We have A4 is actually N here, and A5 is actually M here. So that's it. So now when you closely observe this production, everything is in Greibach normal form. So this will be the answer for the power productions. So thanks for watching the video. Have a good day.